a seat. Right on. Well, hi, y'all.
Howdy.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, when Letty called me up and she said, "Hey, would you mind moderating a panel?" I was like, "I know these guys," but that doesn't mean I'm going to go easy on you. So I did just so y'all know, I did advance the questions to them, but then I added about 15 more. So we'll see where that goes. But thanks for having me. My name is Drew Lentz. I'm known online as the wireless nerd, but in the Rio Grande Valley, a lot of people just know me as Drew. Family came down here in 1904 in Mercedes, so I've got some deep roots in South Texas. And we've done a lot of really good stuff. As Letty mentioned, about 15 years ago, we started a nonprofit organization called Code RGV to help drive workforce development in the Rio Grande Valley. We helped Amos with the inception of the broadband connectivity program at FAR. My firm developed, engineered, designed, and implemented the Wi-Fi installation in the city of McAllen. People like Roberto I've known almost my entire career through a lot of internet service providers down here. But now, through a fun flavored history of companies, I've gotten the opportunity to work for some great companies, Cisco Systems, Meta, just finished up some time at Amazon, focused squarely on technology, a lot of it on restaurant technology. About the last 10 years, I've been working in some capacity as either a director of solution architecture, product manager for retail and restaurant technology, covering about 80% of the national brands that you eat at on a daily basis. And it's always been fun to be the guy from the Valley who works on the stuff that nobody in the Valley is using. And then all of a sudden I get some friends who are actually using it, which is really cool. So that's who I am. And I'll let you guys just run through real quick and introduce yourself. John, who are you, man?
John Zertuche, born and raised here, went to school in San Francisco for game design, wildly different from what I'm doing now. But,
Is it?
No, actually not. No,
We try to gamify everything.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And serial entrepreneur from about 18 years old, owned a bunch of businesses, made a bunch of startups all over the place, and sold my agency a while ago, and now I am working with this amazing team to build out some awesome systems and further the goal of F&P. Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Genaro Alvarez, and I'm born and raised here in Harlingen, Texas. I attended a community college in Harlingen, Texas State Technical College with a computer networking and security technology degree. I've been working for F&P Group now for going on 10 years, and yeah, I head the IT department, so that's a little bit about myself.
Thanks, you.
Who are you?
Who's this guy?
I sell ice cream.
Very good.
Start there.
Good.
Now, good morning, everybody. My name is Bob Lozano. I'm honored to be here today. One of our non-negotiables in our company is to give back. And hopefully today we can share some nuggets that we're learning about AI with y'all that y'all can go apply in your businesses. So we're certainly not all-knowing, but this has been a new venture that we started where we're exploring on how to create value in the restaurant industry by leveraging AI. So I'd be remiss if I didn't share that this doesn't happen without leadership that has established a lot of what the Rio Grande Valley is about. And I'm seeing a lot of that here, starting with you, Mike. And so thank y'all for the opportunity to speak with y'all today. So.
Right on. So as I mentioned, I've got 9 pages worth of questions. I'm going to try and trim that down to about 40. So we'll see where that goes.
I apologize, I probably should mention, but yeah, I along with my family, we own F&P Group, and I'm the CEO of F&P. So I'm not big on titles, so I kind of forget that sometimes, but it helps a little bit. Yeah.
Well, actually, that's where I'm going to start, man. So you guys have Dairy Queen, Schlotzsky's, and Cinnabon. And one of the things that you talk about on your website is that you're adamant that you're not a tech company, that you guys flip burgers, sell ice cream, right? Yet your team is shipping more custom software than a lot of startups do. What would surprise people about where that tech actually lives in your restaurants? And not just at the counter, but in the back office as well. Tell me a little about how you've integrated technology into the burger flipping.
You know, I think it's really important that we have good mentors. I've had great mentors in my parents, Robert and Laurie Lozano. Maybe some of y'all know them. You know, mentorship's really important to me. And I think that as we explore the restaurant industry, I think there's probably no shortcut outside of mentorship, right? And so the reason I bring up mentorship is because as we explore tapping into value in the restaurant industry, we have to remember that we work as a franchisee, right? So I am part of a system and part of a brand. So there is the economics to my business is primarily driven by a group of franchisees, right? And we operate our business in a way that builds a brand together. The project that we're doing today sits a little bit outside of that, right? And so I think mentorship's important because you have to be responsible with how you look at some of this technology. And we're trying to find value within our Dairy Queen system, Schlotzsky system, Cinnabon system, and then we're also finding value in how to manage our business. And a lot of that mentorship came from my folks, but it also came from a lot of different people. And one of the people was the owner of a Chick-fil-A, right? Dan Cathy. I got to listen to him speak, and he pulled out two things. And he said, you got to have this, which was his telephone, and then you got to have this, which was his Bible. And what he was talking about was faith and technology, right? And so to operate our business, we've invested heavily for many years into technology, but today we're having a little bit more fun and diving a little bit deeper, and happy to share about that as well.
So in that, right, you've got a lot of businesses that are trying to focus a lot on technology. What's the danger of focusing too much on the technology side and not enough on the right hand instead of the left hand? What do you see?
We talk a lot about this, right? Technology is only helpful if it helps and not distracts, right? If it's distracting, then it's just taking away time from you running a better business. If it helps you run your business better, then you should lean into the technology. In the restaurant business, anybody that's owned a restaurant knows that you get sold to by a lot of companies, and everyone has the best product. And that's not to take away anything from those technology companies and those SaaS products, but you really have to stop and ask yourself, at what point is this creating value in my company, and at what point is it distracting me? So I think before onboarding any type of technology, you really have to answer that question first.
So that's perfect segue, right? So Genaro, over to you on this one. RestroTech. Can you tell everyone what you're doing with RestroTech? Who's it for? What's the gap that you're trying to fill? And where was that moment where you all decided this is something that we should do?
Yeah, so RestroTech started as an idea. It stands for Restaurant Technology. And overseeing the IT department, I mean, we're constantly helping our staff with technical issues, right? And really what brought that RestroTech thought and idea out was how can we start showing everyone and helping everyone in the public, the community, how to embrace technology and learn something from someone that's actually doing it in their own businesses. So that's how we started with it. And we started at first trying to, like Drew said to us a while back, are you all reviewing products or is it kind of unboxing products? And no, it's not that at all. I mean, really what we're doing is demoing things that we're building in-house. So we're leveraging AI and building our own quote unquote software technologies and actually testing it in our own business to prove out that it's going to work for us and then showing it to the entire community. So anyone that wants to watch it on YouTube or Instagram, any of our social platforms, that's literally all we're doing is showing y'all what we're doing in our business and seeing that any of y'all can be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. I want to add to that real quick, Drew, that it starts with our team, right? Mm-hmm. So we're a big believer in people and coaching and mentoring our team. As we operate today, we have about roughly 1,000 employees, a little under 1,000 employees. And you never know when that next person is going to be a stellar operator, stellar manager, or maybe they're just working at one of our restaurants and want to do something else. They might be going to school, etc. So by creating this content and these videos, our own team also gets access to kind of how leadership is thinking, right? And so I want to point out something that's a little bit unique with AI. What we're going to share today is accessible to everyone. What we're building is accessible to everyone. We're not looking to try to just put it in a box and become rich, right? We are exploring something that I believe has true value and that can help people run their businesses today. And you will get there. Everyone will get there. We will get there. Some of y'all may be further along than we are. The important part is that we are aware that we're living through an unprecedented time. 3 years ago, I told you, man, YouTube and digital media and social media, it's changing everything, radio and TV, and it felt like we were living through something so different, and there was a reshaping of the media industry. Well, AI is doing that at a much larger scale, and it's a very, very real change, so much so that you have a guy that sells ice cream that's messing around with technology. And so that's, if there's any takeaway, and maybe hopefully that's the first one, is why we're sharing it in RestroTech, Drew, is because this is available to everyone. We're all, I truly believe the world is reshaping itself because of this type of technology.
Yeah, and I think there's, one things that I've struggled with a lot of developer friends of mine. This was a conversation I had at Costco here in Pharr, Texas. Where's Victor at? Because there's a Costco in Pharr, in Pharr. But one of the things, the conversation I got into was about how people who know this, who have a background in programming, design, critical thinking, application, people like, no offense, people like the nerds up here on the dais, these guys are using it as a superpower because they can understand exactly how to use it. But for someone who's just getting into it, like yourself, or someone who knows nothing about it, who doesn't understand exactly all of the amazing things they can do, how that's now creating a secondary gap, the gap between the people who know and who are embracing it and the people who are saying, well, I'll learn it tomorrow, or I don't really understand it, and how even though it's supposed to be the technology that levels the playing field, it's actually creating this technology chasm where if you don't adopt, if you don't get on it, you're going to be left even further behind.
Well, let's be sure that we get into some of those technical
questions.
I
have a question for him lined up.
I have our office was right here, 1 block away, down the street. Had a Dairy Queen sign in there for many years. That's where my parents started their first, head office. Now we're based out of McAllen, but I'm really proud to share that. And the reason why I bring that up is because we operated in Pharr, and most of our team is from Pharr and San Juan, still to this day. A lot of our team has been with us for 20, 30 years, which I'm super proud to share. And what we're doing today is not holding this AI piece. No, we're adamantly coaching people on how to use AI, because I'll tell you right now, I sell ice cream. I hate writing emails. I hate spelling. I misspell the crap out of everything. And I'm like, oh my God. So it gives me a little bit more confidence if I can use AI in a responsible way. Now, that's why I say responsible, because here you go, the receiver of a new email is gonna go, oh man, this was written by AI. This guy doesn't know anything. So there's a way to go about it responsibly, right? Those are some of the very basic tasks that we started with, I think maybe 3 years ago or something, that, Drew, I just want to emphasize that you mentioned superpower. We've always reinvested in our team. So anytime I got a book at a convention, I'd come back and give everybody a copy. Anytime I got, so with AI, I naturally said, man, my whole team's got to operate this way, right? And so that's what started 3+ years ago. And now it's evolved to something a little bit much deeper.
Sweet. So let's dig in. I'm going to try and keep it. If I get too technical, someone throws something at me, I tend to fall off the deep end. So I asked AI to make sure to ask questions that everyone would understand. So me nerding out with you guys for a hot minute. So John, you're the one who's building a lot of this stuff, and you and I have known each other for quite a long time. I showed a video of him 12 years ago when he built an app that was pretty well funded out of Austin to do scavenger hunts called Clue Quest. I remember that. And then since then, you've done a couple different things. And I've got questions all about that. But the one I want to ask you right now is, when it comes to actually building these things, what tools are you using? And not only what tools, but is there something that's been bouncing around in your head that you've thought, man, I wish I had a team of developers to do this, or I wish I had the staff to do it. What's something that you're taking advantage of now to build in the restaurant industry that would have taken months or years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of resources? What tools are you using? What are you building with it right now?
Yeah, that was always like the wall that I always reached, right? Because I'm a product lead. That's what I've always been. So I kind of dabbled a lot in design and development, in copywriting, marketing, the whole nine that it takes to build a business, right? Mm-hmm. So I fell into the role of a product manager, product lead majority of the time. So I worked with a lot of developers, a lot of designers, and so on, right? And that was always the problem, was we could have an idea. My old business partner and I could have an idea, and then we'd have to go and outsource it to a huge team and kind of wrangle the troops and get them in an organized way to reach a designated goal together. Now,
After weeks and months, though, like
mean,
it's not
years
software development
sometimes.
is not.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It's not easy, and then usually the first time you receive it, it has a mile still to go. The MVP, the most valuable product that you get in the beginning, is nowhere near where it needs to be for the market to see it. So it takes a long time to get to your destination, and a lot of back and forth that takes way too much time. Now, I have tools.
What are you guys using? Like what's a platform that you're on? Are you an Anthropic person or are you a
I use
ChatGPT
everything
person?
for different reasons. So
We're like a 200 resource person.
I'll start with my right-hand man, which is Claude. That's Anthropic.
Yeah.
This is my planner person. I'm about to call her a person. The AI system that I talk to and plan the product with. Think about infrastructure. Think about the build out. What softwares I want to use, and so on. And then I take that into something like Cursor. Cursor gives me the availability to every product, be that Claude or GPT,
Which was just acquired also by X.
Yeah,
like
which is
this
just
week.
acquired by X. So XAI is going to be, overhauling that with their systems and their compute, which is incredible. Very excited about that. But I use everything from GPT, which is OpenAI, the Claude, which is Anthropic, to Composer, which is Cursor, and then a bunch of my own local models, which gets a little deeper into the technical side. But a mix of every tool has its advantages. Claude is way better at the planning phase and building out the infrastructure phase than something like Codex from GPT, which is way better at numbers and looking through that and financial data and stuff. So everything has its place if you fully understand kind of the AIs and what they're capable of.
And that's something that I wanted to mention, right? Specifically because my wife uses the heck out of ChatGPT. She loves ChatGPT. Everybody, like all of the normies use ChatGPT, right? That's the one that everybody starts with. It's got the brand recognition, but then everyone moves from there. They escalate to Claude, and once they start to get into Claude, they go, "Oh my God, I didn't know it could do all of these things."
Oh yeah.
And then you've got interfaces with IDEs, and are you a Kiro person? Are you a Visual Basic person? There's all these different ways that you can use AI, but I think the key is to find something that you're comfortable with, start there, and then realize all the power that it has.
Yeah, I would say start small and just get started, and you'll start to realize how it makes sense for you and your business. But I also, again, I kind of like to start macro and then go right back down to an actionable item. But if we don't understand the shift that's happening, we don't know how to live and operate in the world that's happening today, right?
Correct.
So the best way that I could explain it, we were having this conversation this morning, is like, we understood a lot of what we did linearly. So it's like process, right? We have a piece of real estate, you pull for permit first or whatever it is, or you look at title. Everything was linear, right? The way we mapped out workflows or processes or jobs or titles, you list linear. The best way I can describe us using AI is that it's you really start to operate in a very different capacity, and things aren't as linear as they may seem. So the logical step of stepping onto ChatGPT and then advancing to Claude is where you get started, and go do that. Where John's at today, there's no linear path. It starts to become a part of your operating system and how you operate day to day. And it's very fragmented. Like I keep using real estate because Mr. Mike just spoke, but I remember seeing Placer AI. It was a real estate piece, and it was very cool, right? And I was like, man, this is some really good stuff. Well, we've got to remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but a lot of AI it's a learning tool, right? It's a learning algorithm that's filled with data. So you've got to understand what the data set is to understand how the AI is going to help you, right? And that's why there's different uses at different times, because they have different data sets behind those engines.
So let me jump in on that one, because my buddy Toby Malbeck gave a presentation a year or two ago at Texas Restaurant Association, and he was the CTO for Church's Chicken. And one of the things that blew my mind was we're sitting there watching the stage of all these people talking about these amazing advancements, and Church's Chicken implemented AI for one very specific purpose. Do you guys know what the purpose was? Documentation. It was documentation. It was training documentation. How to use the fryer, how to clean the Coke machine or Pepsi machine, whatever your choice is. But he loaded the documentation component into the AI first. And that was how he got into AI, was by leveraging that. And so I want to ask you on this is your biggest win may not be in the kitchen actually flipping the burger, right? But what about your back office? Bank reconciliation from 10 hours a week to 10 minutes across 50 accounts. A dashboard built in 2 hours that put one store number one out of 600. What have you done with AI in the back office, the invisible component that nobody sees? We've been able to leverage this in a very simple way. What's the story with the store number one out of 600?
So I actually love this conversation. I would really, if any of this interests you, please go tune into RestroTech and let's have more conversation on any platform you'd like to have. The reason why a lot of what we're doing is a necessity, in my opinion, is a franchise. Their model is a brand and a system. Well, we today have something that could probably build a very similar system or better, most likely better than a franchisor can build for me by leveraging AI. Mm-hmm. So when I look at franchising, there's an inherent risk to that because now I can, in the private marketplace, build a system so that therefore the average person can build a franchise overnight, probably equally as strong as the ones that I operate. Now that's one side of the equation. The other side is the brand, right? And Dairy Queen and Schlotzsky's are strong brands that have been around for a long time. But that's why we're hyper-focused on media as well, because younger generation like to look at TikTok, YouTube, etc. So it was a way to kind of hedge a little bit of what we're doing, Drew, to be able to say, wait a second, if this stuff can really build out systems as well as we're seeing it build out, then there is a risk to what we do day in and day out, if that makes sense. And so again, I'm a little bit off, let's get back on track, but I want to explain why F&P is exploring a lot of this. And then
I've got some great questions on that. So, but in this context, what is it that, like back office stuff that you all are working on that have added extreme amounts of value where you've been like, this is incredible?
Thanks for reeling me back in.
I got you.
I appreciate it. Well, I just want to drive that point, right, of the paradigm shift that we're living through. And you have to decide if you're willing to put in the work or not. If you're going to, I would say start and go all in and figure out how you can tap into that value. If you're not, I would really strongly consider saying, okay, well, how long can I operate my business for and how can I transition it to a new operator that leverages AI and digital media? Because those are really the questions. We had to ask ourselves, now I'm going to answer Drew's question, is where are we going to completely rebuild our process? Mm-hmm. Or where are we going to basically phase out a process? And that was the fundamental question. So we started with accounting because accounting has the most data. And so I'll just give you a quick example. We took 18 months of journal entries. Everybody understands accounting in here, or some people understand you have journal entries, right, in accounting. We had 126,000 transactions, I think.
Roughly.
Yeah. Roughly 126,000 transactions, 18th month of history of journal entries in our accounting software. We took that and placed it into an AI software and used that just as a data source to be able to map and answer questions about what all of our departments do. So let's just stop for a second. 18 months of historical entries of accounting placed into an AI tool, and now with that AI tool, we were able to generate a calendar, we're able to generate checklists, we're able to generate job roles, job titles. And nobody in our company can say, well, that's not accurate. What do you mean it's not accurate? It's literally 18 months of exactly what we did. It's very accurate.
Data, yeah.
And then, well, I don't do that on a monthly basis. Well, yeah, you did, because it's 18 months of history, right? So it holds us accountable, right? So that's one example of how we started to realize the power of what we were dealing with. But yeah, so I'll give you the one that our accountant today, Sandra, she's from here as well. She's like, it's working. Well, before we have, I don't know how many bank accounts, 50, 60 plus bank accounts. Well, we have to transfer money on a weekly basis, sometimes twice a week. You have to go into all the different accounts, log into online banking, and subtract the amount that you want to leave in the balance, which we leave $1,000, and then be able to transfer the rest. And it's pretty friendly. You go in, do the math on a spreadsheet, you go type it in, and then you initiate the transfer. Well, today, with John's work and Genaro's work, that's a push of a button. It takes one push of a button to be able to do all of that math, initiate it, send this file up to the Federal Reserve, have them approve that as a safe and secure file, send it back down to the local bank, and initiate that transfer. So we just eliminated all those hours of work, and it's a push of a button, right? And so that's one example.
Well, that's a great one, and I want to rephrase that one in just a second,
Yeah.
but I want to move the conversation over just
Please.
a smidge to the side. So I was telling you, I got to go out to Orange, Texas, and talk to one of your operator friends, and a conversation that I had with him at 2:00 in the morning when we were upgrading his Wi-Fi is I said, what's important to you as an operator? Because I wanted to know what is it that they care about, because they don't care about what frequency the Wi-Fi is operating on or how many data bits are processing on which switch port or firewall rules, things that don't matter to an operator. And he said, what I care about is these very specific things. And so in the matter of an hour, we built him a dashboard that leveraged APIs, programmer interfaces from all these different pieces of software to customize a dashboard that showed him all of his locations. If they were red for down, green for up, we pulled in traffic patterns from the traffic in front of his store. We brought in the weather data to show what the weather looked like so we could do predictive analysis on who was coming in the store. We used the Wi-Fi to determine how many people were in the store. We looked at his staffing to see who was staffed at that time. And one of the things that he wanted to do was monitor the traffic outside to see if there was a backup at the traffic light. And if there was, he has an ice cream cart that he wants to push out to the street and start selling 99-cent cones to people sitting in traffic to bump his revenue up as long as the weather's good. So this is a fun case study,
Yeah.
right? So my question to you guys is, in that scenario, things that you've built, you can pull in data from all over the place. The best place to build your next location, based on traffic patterns, based on Mike. Kudos, by the way, dude. I mean, seriously, I wasn't expecting you to say you were using AI the way you are. Good job.
I love it. I'm dangerous.
Dude, I love it, dude. I love
best thing
it.
I've
When
ever
Mike
heard.
Blum says he's dangerous, I get scared.
Yeah, literally. No, that was badass. That was really
So
badass.
if AI can predict everything from your staffing and your weather patterns and dynamic pricing, which we can talk about also, which is either good or horrible, depends on how you look at it. If it's reordering inventory, if it's making all those decisions, what's the last decision that you as a business owner would give to AI? What's the last thing you're like, I just don't want it to touch this?
Well, that's a tough question, but I know exactly what comes to my mind,
Say it.
which is kind of where I start. It's never going to give me happiness levels. I'm never going to be able to look into my customer's eyes or my team member's eyes and see if they're happy. And that's my job is to see if I'm building an environment and coaching our team in such a way to where they feel genuinely happy. I believe happy people are productive people. And so AI is never going to be able to do that.
Hospitality.
Yeah, hospitality. That's something that is how you feel. And AI doesn't have feeling unless you tell it to feel certain ways, which is possible too. Yeah,
Now-
happiness levels. And
Good.
those are important. That's my number one metric in our company is like, are people happy here?
So along those lines, let me skip forward because I've got a fantastic question on that one. With the happiness level, one of the things that comes up, and I do want to talk about economic development also, is if AI is handling that, right, scheduling, ordering, the only thing that's left is the algorithm for happy, and it's impossible to duplicate that. What soft skills are you teaching, and how important do you think soft skills are now that you can automate drive-through, you can automate register, you can automate food production, you can automate bookkeeping? What soft skills are you leaning in towards now with your future potential hires, and what is it that you're trying to teach them on? Be kind?
Well, yeah, thanks for shouting that out. Be kind. This is actually on our website. You can find our merch. We sell stuff that we believe in and that what we want to share with other people.
That's how you can
Believe
tell
in.
the
Be kind.
generational gap, because the other generation always has merch. Just FYI, there's always merch.
It's fun to be able to spread a good message, right? I always go back. I forget the author. It's The Ideal Team Player. I thought the book was outstanding, but it's Hungry, Humble, Smart. I mean, if you can coach on being hungry and humble and smart, I think it's a great foundation. If you're only hungry, you're going to bulldoze over people. If you're too humble, well, you're never going to get the job done. If you're too smart, then everyone's going to feel dumb around you. No one's going to like you. You got to have those three things. But let's delve more on the technical side because these guys have got some really good stuff going.
Okay, so a question on that, right? With regards to what you guys are developing, Healthcare support, 17.2% of our market down here. Office and admin, 12.4%. Food prep and serving is about 10%. The stuff that you all are building goes right after two of those main areas, right? Where you've got office admin and food prep. So that's the inevitable, the AI gap when it comes in. What tools are you developing to not only make sure that people are doing the best job that they can do, but what are you guys developing along the way to retrain or to help people who are in those affected areas be more? Are you training them technically? Are you trying to get them into roles where they become developers, where they become not prompt engineers, that's last year's term, but are you doing anything in the workforce level to help people who may have been at the cashier to take the responsibilities of their job and turn that into something that's more tech focused?
I can start by,
Yeah, go for it.
yeah, one big misconception is that AI is going to replace people. And that's just, everyone always says that. That's always in the headlines of everything. It's like AI taking over humans' jobs. And that's not what we're building at all. What we're building today is AI solutions that are going to help those individuals just accomplish their jobs much faster and having more interactions with the people that are important. So administration jobs, if they're stuck on a computer constantly working on 8 hours of just data entries.
Yeah, 126,000 inputs.
How are they going to be able to take those phone calls? They're going to be rushing the calls to get off the phone. They're not going to be hospitaled to any individuals. Same thing at a restaurant. If we're talking about AI at drive-thrus or taking over the cashier portion, no, some of that's just to help them be more, have that human interaction. And that's really where we're leveraging technology to make humans' lives easier.
Yeah. I just had we were just talking about it, thanks for mentioning it, but I just had a baby boy, so I experienced my first Father's Day, which is amazing. So the best, thank you so much, thank you. The proudest club that I'm a part of, I can certainly assure you that. But the best way I can describe it is like, can you imagine if somebody just took care of all the changing the diapers, all the wipies, all the things that you have to do 1,000 times so that you can just look at him and he can look at you and you can spend that precious human time, right? Well, very similar in our business. We're trying to tackle solutions that eliminate being able to have to do a lot of those admin duties so that we can be more face-to-face, because I don't care who you are, but your team or yourself can learn more and you can train harder. Like we've got so much training to do, it's not even funny. We can always be more hospitable, we can always be quicker, we can always be more accurate, we can always be just better people. And so we're really trying to focus on taking a lot of those tasks off so we can focus on the people part.
So, and let me ask for the audience in here, right? The qualities that someone needs to understand, the education that's involved in coming to work for a brand like yours, who's very forward-facing on AI, who's taking advantage of technology. That's not your typical set of, it's not a typical job applicant set of, fundamentals that they learn in high school, right? They're not walking out of high school ready to work. Are you working with UTRGV or SDC or TSDC to build pipelines where people are learning the skills that you need for your workforce? Are you helping them understand what it is that you're doing to move forward? Because what has happened with us has been the brain drain. It's something we've been trying to work on for years, and that's keeping the incredible talent. We're just talking about some of the friends of ours that have done incredibly well in the tech space who are from the Valley. What are you doing to reach out to universities, schools, high schools, CTE programs to help the schools understand what your workforce is going to look like in 5 years, so that they don't go to San Antonio, they don't go to Austin, they don't go to Houston looking for tech jobs where everyone else has already deployed this? What's something that you would advice that you would give to UTRGV or SDC or TSTC to say, hey, these are the people that we need? And that's for all of you, right? Because you're going to know the technical side, but you're going to know the back office side.
I would say we're already ingrained pretty deeply with UTRGV, so I think continuing that relationship forward to start helping would be ideal. I think we're just kind of starting these outreach efforts and just kind of vocalizing what we're doing internally. Mm-hmm. So I think continuing that for sure is something we should do. But I think my main point is everybody just needs to be curious. And if you're curious, then I think you're worth like a hire. But if you're closed off, I think then that's kind of really the point that I would make.
I'm going to piggyback off John also. Being curious is great, and having that creativity, that mindset of
Critical
how can I
thinking,
get how can I get
Common
creative
sense.
with this? Because the more creative you are and more focused on detail, the more output you can get from an AI. And as far as being involved with universities, colleges, or any of that nature, anytime that we're hiring, we're also trying to reach out to those universities. We start internal. Internal is always our preference. And then we start looking at universities or community colleges, et cetera, and giving them insights on what we're accomplishing in business today or what we're looking for in business, and trying to seek that, those potential employees for us as well.
So that's, and I want to rephrase it just a little bit for you, right? On the bigger side, when you're looking at all these different franchises out there, that entry level job at the register, the drive-through, that's the one that it says, quote unquote, that's what AI eats first, right? It's giving them an easier way to do their job, which is shaking hands and being a warm smile. Now, like, be frank, right? And there's a lot of things that you're going to find that AI is going to say for cost savings, for efficiency, for all that stuff. So if you take the role of the person that's in the front at the register and you take their job down to only being the shaking of the hand and the smile face, how is that developing your workforce so that they can go on into the management side so that you can hire from within? What is it? What tools have you thought about that you could possibly or potentially give those employees, like continuing education or letting expose them to what you're doing to help develop them as better employees? Is there any program like that today, or what are you thinking in the future about how you're going to develop those frontline employees to end up being back in back of house where you guys are?
My mind goes to so many different directions there, Drew, but I want to answer your first initial question. We're not formally doing anything with UTRGV. We're involved with them a lot. We donate a lot. We did $1 million endowment with Driscoll to be able to reinvest in top tier healthcare workers. We tried to put our resources and our effort back into our community so that we can coach and build a culture around leadership. I genuinely believe good leadership is how you impact the world and change people's lives. And so to answer your question, we usually start organically, Drew. I love nothing more than seeing, even like this guy 10 years ago started with us, and he's doing some really cool stuff, and that makes me very proud. That's not to say that the new 21-year-old student or 20-year-old student's not gonna do a better or worse job, but to me, that gives me purpose, right? Because we're growing together, and so I think that's important. But to answer the question about the cashier a little bit more directly, sharing the content's really important, and it gives people access to what we're doing and a little bit of their insight into what we're doing. And I think that's important because it improves a positive company culture. What do I mean by that? If they see the CEO of the company trying to figure out on a daily basis how to use new tools to improve their labor, improve their food cost, improve their revenue, improve their traffic, so that they can get a profit share bonus, they're gonna work a little bit harder to try to get that profit share going, right? Because I'm engaged, because I'm passionate, because I care, right? So now on the downside to that, you do see some stuff where it's, here's more change. I can remember I was a lot younger, but my dad dealt with this issue when we moved from cash to credit cards. People literally quit and said, nope, I ain't taking that piece of plastic card, I'm out. And they quit. It was a big change. Well, by implementing this type of technology, it challenges our team to be more curious and to be more critical minded, even at a younger age, and just be open minded to say, hey, it's from the top down that we're looking to improve our company.
So then the tough question follows that, right? If every dollar that the back office automation saves you, you've got 3 ways you can spend it, right? You pad margin, you cut your price, so you can invest back into the people that are there. I think we all know what the answer is going to be on that one.
Well,
but when that happens, where does that line get drawn? It's the big elephant in the room questions, right? Where does that line get drawn between automate for efficiency and automate for profit versus doing the right thing by a human? Yeah. If you can cut your staff from 3 people per shift to 2 people per shift, how do you reconcile that?
I'm super simple, and it's called Food and People for a reason. We value people. So cut me off when you have a question, but this is literally what I tell our team at the head office level. I said, look, we're going to rework your whole department. You're going to be right by our side. And at the end of this, there's going to be two outcomes. You're either going to work 2 days a week now, or you're going to take on more work. You answer. Your salary is going to stay the same. The value equation is still the same because the return is still being achieved, right? I think most people in business would say, optimize and excel as much as you can, highest return. We don't operate that way. I'm very transparent in that sense that say, look, now you're gonna work 2 days a week, or you're ready to take on more work. Which one do you want? If they take on more work, they provide more value, their salary goes up. If they don't, I'm just dealing with an individual that values time away from the company more than they value growing the company, right? But I'm very transparent, and I said, look, you're not going to get replaced. I promise you, there's nobody getting replaced here. But if you don't use AI, you will get replaced.
So
and that's just the honest truth.
And I want to be clear on why I wanted to make Bob sweat a little bit with that question, because these are answers that you're going to get from local business owners, and that's the important component of all of this. There's a way that you guys are integrating this technology versus the way that Chick-fil-A is integrating this technology. There's and maybe not specifically them, but there's a lot of movement in the restaurant where they're trying to design for efficiency, and they're trying to design for what they deem a better quality of experience. But the fact that you guys started in FAR, the fact that you're from this community, that you give back to this community, that you're important to this community, I think this is one of the only spots where you're going to get those answers about you actually caring. No offense to the rest of the groups in the industry, but you don't hear this at a national level. You don't hear people saying, oh, we really are concerned about giving them an option of 2 days a week versus becoming more important to the organization. So kudos to you. I mean, it's
well, thanks for that. I mean, but really, if we managed our own brand, we would be relentlessly focused on how to improve what's in those four walls. Mm-hmm. But I sit on a board that goes and votes on what should happen. So when I go up to the vote, I say, hey, does the CEO of Dairy Queen know about AI and digital marketing? Because if they don't, we need to evolve the leadership, right? Because I want the unit economics of the restaurant to get stronger. Outside of that, a lot of what we're talking about is how to manage multiple locations. So essentially, a lot of our efforts are going into our management company, which is F&P Brands. Mm-hmm. So why is it called F&P Group? I'll just tell you real quick, but F&P Media, we make content, we have YouTube channels, Instagram, social media, we talk a lot about what we do. F&P Brands manages the restaurants. F&P Development, we own and operate real estate, and we build commercial real estate as well, anchored by restaurants, right? So that's why it's called F&P Group. We are using and leveraging AI. John came on board to manage media, and I had to make a very difficult decision very quickly and say, holy crap, does he stay and manage media, or do we really just reinvest in our people and in our team more and double down on AI? With everything I know, with no emotion, with no youthfulness, with no starry-eyed, nothing, I made a logical decision and said, there's nothing more important that I need to be doing than understanding AI and investing in AI. And the example I gave is if I buy a $25,000 ice cream machine tomorrow, or if I buy a $25,000 computer to see how much computing power I can generate behind AI, the ROI quickly is unknown, but it quickly outweighs how much ice cream I can sell. There's a certain capacity that the ice cream machine is going to make, right? There's a little bit of an unknown capacity on this side.
So then on the technical side, and I don't know, I think we're running up here on time. I don't know if we've got 5 minutes left. So on the technical side, so Genaro, man, you mentioned it, right? You came up, you're from the Valley, you came up through the Valley, you went to school down here, you stayed down here, you're doing this. You understand these restaurant networks pretty well.
Yeah, he does.
Two questions for you. For someone who loves tech in the Rio Grande Valley and they don't want to leave home, what career path do you see for them, or how do you get people to get into a career path like this in the Rio Grande Valley so that they can stay close to home, they can stay local, but still have a meaningful job in information technology or security in this area?
Yeah. I mean, I still speak to different instructors and professors out there, and a lot of what they're doing is starting to change the technical programs to AI now. Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting. Like some of the career paths or cybersecurity has now added AI to it. So it's interesting. But if somebody wants to either go to school or get certified or just even self-taught, by checking out some YouTube channels and just learning on their own. I think that first and foremost, they need to understand that there is opportunity here in the Rio Grande Valley. Because I was one of those students. I was one of those students that I told myself, as soon as I'm done with school, I'm leaving. I'm going to San Antonio, I'm going to Houston, and there's opportunities out there. But when I got that phone call from one of my instructors and said, hey, there's a potential job here in the Rio Grande Valley. I think you should check it out. I went and checked it out. Little did I know it was going to end up being working here.
That's awesome.
And while I took the job opportunity, I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to be working in a corporate office, and I'm going to be managing their IT department. There's some cybersecurity things I can be doing here.
They didn't tell you about the Pokemon cards.
That's true.
I had no idea it was going to be multi-unit operations, and I had no clue that Dairy Queen restaurants or Schlotzsky's or any type of restaurants had so much technology inside it. And that's where a whole new door opened for me, and I learned so much. And quickly I had to just become a people person, obviously, because I couldn't help somebody in the restaurant if they didn't help me understand what was going on in the restaurant. So by me learning from them, I mean, they taught me so much. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for those team members, those general managers, those assistant managers. But I would strongly advise that if someone's interested in the technical field or AI field, start by looking in your hometown first, because there's a lot of growth opportunities.
You know, City of Far, not to plug them too hard, but City of Far, what they're doing with the broadband project here and the fiber project, they have internships opened up right now. They've got more capability and capacity than any other city in the Rio Grande Valley to offer an opportunity to work a government job doing IT, which if you're a kid, you don't understand how impactful that is. I'm staring at my daughter. Government jobs, babe. Anyway, but what City of Far is doing is pretty incredible.
It is.
I don't even want to get into the SpaceX conversation and the fact that we've got the largest company in the world headquartered 66 miles from here. That's a whole different conversation that is politically charged, so we're not going to talk about that. But there is a lot of opportunity that comes into this, and there are places you can go. Back on the side, when you first started working, I want to ask, we talked about where to start with AI. Start anywhere, start everywhere, right? Start with something that like Mike's doing. But when it comes to the infrastructure to build out next generation hospitality, next generation restaurant, when you walk into a Dairy Queen, people don't necessarily think of a Dairy Queen as like the icon of technology solutions, right? They don't think about fast food when they think of the most equipped infrastructure, right? It's been what is necessary in order to flip the burger? What is necessary to flip the Blizzard upside down, right? What are things that you can recommend in your history that you've seen that are the fundamental things that you need in order to produce a restaurant or a business moving forward? Is it connectivity? Is it like what are the things from an IT perspective that you would recommend as the foundation for getting started?
Yeah, definitely foundation's going to be, your entire cabling at a restaurant, right? So where the data actually flows through, and it's all flowing through your Ethernet cables. So that's where you start. Your Ethernet cable, you have to have just solid connectivity at a restaurant. So start with the cabling, start with secure network. So, a simple term, I'm just going to use router. We call it firewalls, but start with your firewall router, start with your switching. And then, of course, data comes next, because all that information that's being stored in your back office computer and your cloud-based servers, that's all data. And if you don't have that connectivity from the jump, and you're constantly losing internet every single day, every hour, whatever the case is, that data is never going to be accurate. So in order to have accurate data, you have to have solid connectivity. So I would say that's probably the fundamental. And then, after that with data, I mean, you're pretty unstoppable when you have data.
Nice. Now, real quick to you. Go ahead. What's up?
No. Maybe John can share a little bit, but there's actually so we kind of crossed paths before we were all part of F&P Group. But John, you want to share that a little bit on why I think some of us we were pushed into a certain trajectory with mentorship and Kai and stuff?
Like
Kai Wolfe. And
we were actually all mentored by Kai, who's an incredible human being, wildly advanced to his time and just where he was, which was pretty wild.
And he chose the valley. Like
He
that's
chose the valley,
Kai
yeah.
Wolfe developed one of the first systems for connectivity for Google in Kenya and sub-Saharan Africa.
Yep.
And I got to work on the team with a lot of people that he started when I was over at Meta, and he did some incredible things for connectivity that inevitably made his fingerprints, because of my relationship with him also, are all over the City of FAR's broadband project as well as City of McAllen's project. That's
amazing.
Yeah, I forgot about Kai.
Tragically, Kai Wolfe passed away in a plane accident in Harlingen. He was teaching somebody to fly, and they had a bad landing. But nonetheless, I wanted to point that out. Again, I'm a big advocate for mentorship, but also why there's a little bit. Our trajectory started many years back, because I think if we didn't hone in on what G was talking about, if I, as the CEO, didn't prioritize our reinvestment, I don't think we would be in a position to be able to do what we're doing today, because we would be dealing with a lot of issues that perhaps weren't addressed, years then. But yeah, I'm sorry, John.
Yeah, no, I mean, Kai I mentored us pretty much in a different capacity across the board, because with you it was IT systems, with me it was software development and just building out something from an idea to execution, and then with Bob it was running a full large company. So it's pretty wild to have all that kind of compound
That's crazy.
together.
And we didn't have that. We didn't know we were going to come cross paths again. No. But Kai Wolfe worked with Burton McCumber and LaGuardia, I think at the time. Yeah, at the time. And we started an IT project. Robert, my dad, started an IT company several years back that didn't pan out the way we would have liked to have seen it. But kind of full circle here, I think there's a lot of things that we've touched on that I would advocate for the whole valley, really. Being open-minded, being more collaborative, sharing value, give people value freely. I mean, I always bring this up, but there was always the pilon. I don't know, some people know what it is, some people don't, but it's like an unexpected gift, right? And that's why people said Olive Garden was so successful, because you used to take a little mint at the end and it would make you so happy, right? Well, why not build a culture here in the Rio Grande Valley that we share value, and let's share it with our peers aggressively, so that the community can rise together, because there's a bunch of untapped potential that we're tapping into and have over decades. But it's such a game changer when you can have that mindset.
So I've got two questions real quick. What's something that you're working on right now that you're super excited about for these guys, like for the team? And I mean, don't give all the secrets away, but is there something where you're like, this is freaking awesome, I can't wait to get back in front of, are you guys as addicted to it as I am? That's the other question.
Oh my gosh.
Is there's a whole Wired article about the people like us who are doing it, who are staying up late at night, whose wives are getting extremely unhappy. No, I'm serious. There's a whole article about how the addictive nature of this is when you take high functioning, call that what you will, people who throw it in. I want to reach into my pocket right now and just start doing something, because I had an idea. Like I want to get into it, and I'm going to take this entire audio recording and throw it all back through AI and digest everything that we talked about. What's something that you're working on right now where you're like, what project is open in Claude right now where you're going to go /resume and get back to it?
So it's pretty crazy when you give a person who relied on so many people to build something out the ability to just do it himself. It's hard to sleep when it's wholly dependent on yourself to just build it out.
I built a security system for my neighborhood that uses license plate recognition for getting people in there.
Imagine 4 years ago, it would have been impossible. Taken forever. Let me talk about the brain. So we are currently building out a brain for our company. It may sound a little crazy, but it's ingesting like 400 plus million lines of data, which is crazy, across financial, labor, food cost, IT, whatever it might be, and data that we house. Because at the end of the day, data that is consumed by AI is what will generate your output. Your output's going to be based off your data.
Okay, context is the new thing, right? If no one's told
it's king.
It's context is the most important thing to happen to AI. Understanding who, where, why, and with what data. That's the next big push.
So and like what you just said, our brain also ingests all of our conversations. All of our conversations are recorded with something called Otter. It's an AI note-taking system that gives you a transcript of your meetings and stuff. And every time we finish a meeting, it just goes straight into the brain. And it's really just giving us a pulse on our business to the point where soon Bob will just be able to talk to our business. As a being, it is weird to say, but it's a thing.
Yeah, we're honestly weeks away, but what that sounds like is asking a computer and being able to say, hey, how did the Dairy Queen and Elsa do last Wednesday? And it's going to be able to tell me. And oh, by the way, tell me how I can do better this next Wednesday. And then it'll tell me, right? It'll also, the way we're trying to build it out is to coach us, right? Again, I keep alluding to people and mentorship. I just think people are our biggest asset here in the Rio Grande Valley, everywhere, and in our company. And so we're challenging ourselves to see how that brain could give us feedback. Perhaps it's saying, hey, Bob, you're a little all over the place. You're not finishing some things. You need to finish what you said last week, or you need to finish so we can build out agents that are holding us accountable, right? So there's different ways, but again, that was brought by John. And I think that one thing I want to share briefly is John brought a very much a builder's mindset, which is incredibly valuable. Genaro understands the industry and the people to make some of this happen. And I think what I brought a little bit, I would hope, is the belief in people like them and in a resource like AI to be willing to put money behind this and to be able to say, yeah, I sell ice cream, but hey, échale un ojo, like this is some good stuff, and be able to challenge ourselves to reinvest in a substantial way, not just a $20 subscription, right? Because what that $20 subscription could do for me is really powerful. So when you start to invest into computers and into multiple AIs, if you're responsible, you really do start to get into a scenario where, yeah, I could get left behind if I'm not careful. So I don't want to use scare tactics. It's just really much more of an awareness that our value equations are being shortened every day. I mean, I don't know what everyone's business is today, but if you're not aware that somebody with the AI knowledge or investing in AI is not catching up to you, I mean, you need to be aware of that, because I think we were talking about lawyers. I think 5 lawyers that understand AI will beat a firm that have 100 lawyers that don't understand AI. It's just that's the magnitude. Again, it's not to use scare tactics. It's just to bring an awareness of how real this change is.
Well, what's nuts about it is the industries that it's going to hit the hardest. Anything that has to do with large quantities of data, lawyers, CPAs, accountants, insurance, those are the things that don't require human interaction. Those are wiped, and it's coming way quicker. So let me ask the last question. I want you to finish the sentence from each one of your perspectives, from the development perspective, from the technical perspective, and then from the business owner perspective. The restaurant owners who thrive in the next decade will be the ones who do what?
Start looking at AI.
That start looking at AI?
Yeah.
Start now.
Start now?
Yeah.
Mine's 3-pronged. Understand AI, understand digital media, and don't forget that at the end of the day, we're all human.
I think that's super powerful, because I think we're building for people, not building to get away from people. That's the biggest thing here. Like everything that we build is to make someone's job easier, not to take it away.
I do have one more question.
Okay.
Go for it.
If you were a blizzard, which one would you be? Size and flavor.
As you can tell from this conversation, I would be a large one with a lot of ingredients and complicated. No, I don't know. My favorite blizzard is Heath. I've always loved Heath, but I add banana and caramel. So good.
Ooh, nice.
Original. I like the Blizzard. I love the Oreo Blizzard. That's just my go-to. Yeah, it's my go-to. Yeah, OG.
They took mine away, but it was that berry blast with all the berries in it. I love fresh fruit.
Oh man,
The tropical one's amazing too.
I love it. Well, guys, thanks, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope I asked some questions that you all were thinking about, ones that you weren't thinking about. I think if we've got time, we got time for questions. Go ahead.
The question I have on all this AI stuff, you have to put in your balance. Where does the fraud stuff come in? There's a lot of firewall blocks and whatnot. You're doing a good project, so you get a warrant, or you get something in there. What do you use against that? Because everybody's saying, what product should I use? What AI product should I use? And there's a lot of these other scammers that they're just out there to steal your data and just sell it elsewhere or send it to another client.
Well, let's be clear.
What do you do there for security purposes?
Yeah.
Especially for your business. How do you protect yourself and how do you build that on your program?
Yeah, so let's be clear. If you're using an AI platform and you're not paying for a subscription that's specific to your organization, every piece of data that you put in there is public data. Everything that you talk to it, and that's all of them. So if you go and you ask it, you know, what this medication how does it interact with alcohol? That's now public information about that. If you go in and you post all of your financials for the last 18 months in the chat GPT and you're not paying for a corporate subscription that specifically states it won't use that data, every bit of data that you put in there is now being used to train everything. That's one of the most important things that my daughter's face just lit up. Anything that you put in there, like how much Harry Styles tickets are at Wembley, you know, for the grand opening. Like, seriously. All of
Because
that's,
there's a lot of unknown.
Yeah.
And they just get access to.
I'm gonna let Genaro dig into that one. I'll let you guys.
I'm just gonna start with the firewall in place,
Yeah.
also known as router. That's the very basic piece of hardware that a business needs to have in place. And then I'm gonna let John take over with what you do on an AI standpoint to make that router function like it needs to.
Build audit, build audit, build audit, build audit. That's your number one thing.
Build and audit.
Build and audit over and over and over and over and over and over again, continuously. We say something where we have to work for our business, but then we need to make sure we're working on our business as well, right? So the core thing is, number one, understand what AIs you're using to a T. You said it best. Corporate accounts or API-specific accounts, those mostly you need to make sure per AI system, but mostly do not acquire your data and train off your data. So those are the ones you want to use, the ones that very strictly say that they do not
That's to
use
specifically
your data.
say it though.
It needs to very specifically.
You can ask
They
it.
all do say it,
Yeah.
and then you can ask it
You
too.
can say, "Are you using my data to train other
Yeah.
stuff?" And they'll
That's
say,
the best thing.
"Absolutely," or it'll say, "No, you know, thanks for the $20 a month."
That's the one thing a lot of people don't do is if you have a question about AI,
Just ask it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll tell you. But yes, number one, make sure that they're not training off your data, and number two, use local models. Local models allow us to keep all of our data on-prem, which is on
On the $20,000 computer that
yes,
Bob
on the
just bought.
20,000, the crazy system that we have. It keeps it all local, so it doesn't leave the building.
It's actually 28 because they ran out and we had to buy it on
Yeah, it was
secondary
trying
market.
to
It was
get
so
a quotation.
stupid.
350.90.
It was so
It
stupid.
was 512 gigabytes. Okay, we'll talk about it later.
So stupid.
But ultimately,
a lot
keep
of
it all
blizzards.
local as much as you can. If it's very sensitive information, our system talks through Ethernet cables that do not touch the internet. They can, and they do have access to the internet, but the data is not transferring through the internet.
Thanks to the firewall.
Thanks to the firewall.
It
So
gets
that's
blocked
what
out.
he
It all
builds
gets
out.
blocked.
Local models operate locally. They don't touch the internet unless you tell them to. And if they do touch the internet, it's usually to go research something, scout something, but they're not publicly posting your internet. And that revolves around parameters you put in place in something called a soul. And a soul is what you're giving an AI, so it has its beliefs and its core do's and don'ts.
There's something in there that you might not touch it, but the people that work with you might touch it. It's MCP, multi-context protocol, and you have to make sure that when you tell it, log into my Gmail and give me all my stuff. Remember, it's going to do all of these things, and it's going to have credentials to do all of that. Some of the security anomalies that have been happening over the last 6 months have been when people get access to MCP services, and they notice that, oh, they've got 5,000 people logged into their Gmail using this MCP, which just opened up 5,000 Gmail addresses for them. You have to be very, very careful about what you tell it to do. If you tell it to log into something, be wary that it'll...
Yeah, I know this is not a security answer, but I want to emphasize this because we kind of talked about it, Drew. But we also have to be aware of the replacement or the value replacement that AI is plugging into. So what I mean by that is, when you talked about restaurants, et cetera, if I had, which there's not, because I would want to know but if I had an AI that could cook all the burgers and serve all the ice cream, right? And let's just assume I replace that tomorrow, right? Well, what if that AI company goes out of business tomorrow, right? I just built a whole business off of a AI resource or tool that is not guaranteed tomorrow, right? A lot of these companies run cash flow
Tokens.
And the companies themselves are losing money, right? They're being invested in, and there's a race to the finish on all these AI companies to see which one's going to make it, right? So just be careful when you're building out things, both security and also what function of your business are you replacing? Because if your business is contingent upon that AI software working, well, then you need to be able to plug and play. It needs to be agnostic, because if it's so custom that you're not going to be able to generate money tomorrow, then you're presenting your own risk, if that makes sense.
Anthropic went out last night for 6 hours. It went offline. People freaked out because they have entire businesses that are built running in there. When you look at AWS, Amazon Web Services, when the Northeast crashed, 8 months ago, and it took all cloud compute offline, a lot of people had a lot of problems generating revenue when their business didn't even work. So local language models, storing it locally, making the investment in hardware, making the brain local.
Yeah, because that is now, the body can be switched out. The brain is just where it stores all of its info. So Anthropic goes down, I just switch the model.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. It takes 2 seconds to switch the model, and now we're entirely. It's like my backup generator. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
When
So
I made TV in Surrey last week, we shut down, suddenly everything went down. Nobody could buy anything, you had to walk out the store, leave everything there, and no one could answer why they went down.
Do you remember when that happened during COVID? Do you guys on North 10th Street, and everyone at the managers just said, just take your carts, and they let everybody just walk out with everything. It was pretty awesome. It was in the middle of COVID, man. Everyone's like, woo, woo, woo.
That is awesome. Stupid. Any other questions? I'd love to answer. Yeah.
No, I have a question. Do you all have kids?
all of us.
No,
All
no.
3 of us.
Oh, there you are. Oh, I hope you're going to ask what she wants you to ask.
So I have a teen, and he's preteen, and he's 12, and he loves technology, and he's like, what's so outdated? They don't teach anything about it, they don't really care. How do I teach him, or how can I guide him to learn it the right way? What have you guys done to get him to learn?
Yeah, and let me one up that one real quick. Can I put you on the spot for a second? This is my daughter Nola.
You haven't already?
Yeah, right. How do you feel about AI? I want you to be honest. How do you feel about AI? It's not my favorite thing in the world. Her entire friend group despises AI. They hate it. At colleges and universities, we're talking about this, commencement speeches, that was the word I was looking for. Commencement speeches where the founder of Google stood up and talked about how incredible the generational shift is. You know what they did?
They left. Yeah.
They booed him off the stage. Wow. Yeah, and it happened like 4 or 5 times this graduation season. They booed people talking about AI because they don't want anything to do with it.
Well, there's a lot of, I'm sorry, real quick. There's a lot of little things that it's new. So the new and shiny gets a lot of attention, right? But I always use the most obvious one that came out very early on, which was in the drive-thru. You have an automatic AI robot now. As a restaurant owner, I hate that. I want to talk to a person. Like, let me just talk to the freaking person, and tech companies feel like it's the greatest thing in the world.
See, I love it. I was just next to SoundHound in San Antonio. You can pull up to a drive-thru and you can talk to it in any language and it will respond to you in any language.
Yeah.
And then it'll translate what you told it into the kitchen into the language of choice of the person who's cooking so that they don't mess your order up because it's been translated to their native language. Technologically, I think this is amazing.
It absolutely is amazing.
Counterpoint.
As an operator, I think of longevity, and I think of, is that consumer going to lose that magic, right? And it depends where you fit in the food and beverage industry, right? Some things can be just purely transactional. But if I am just purely transactional and someone sells an ice cream that's almost as good, but they're just so much nicer than me, people are probably start to go there.
Well, and it's also, there's aesthetic too, right? And I mean, I'm not pointing at your Starbucks, but La La Land Coffee. How many of y'all even know what La La Land Coffee is? Yeah, because none of y'all are on TikTok, right? Yeah. La La Land Coffee is a coffee shop that started in Dallas. That the whole reason people go is just because of the way that it looks. The coffee kind of sucks, it really does. But they just did a co-brand with Lululemon inside a store in Houston, and we went. And it wasn't that it was great. It was that we were at a La La Land Coffee inside a Lululemon, and and you can Instagram everything because it was the experience of the brand that drives people to it, and the exposure, like with what you guys are talking about with media, they didn't invest money in marketing. They didn't turn around and blow this whole thing up. They went off of some crazy TikTok reels that blew them up, and then they doubled down on it.
I think they have some answers to your question. I want to just mention briefly that I think mindset is super important, like coaching and teaching our kids to have great mindsets and being good people. Like, I really think that technology is headed in a direction where a lot of things are being exposed. And for example, we record all of our conversations in our company. How many bad employees would go, oh shit, They know everything I'm saying now. Okay, well, leave. Like, if you're a bad employee, you just busted yourself kind of deal, you know? So I really think being a good person is super important.
My answer's a little crazy. I think we've lived in a world where we thought humanity's biggest superpower was intelligence, and we're quickly learning that it's empathy, not intelligence. And so that schooling needs to revolve around that. My kids are 4 and 2, so I'm barely getting into the education part, but what I've done is, this is crazy, but yeah, so I built a system out that we bought all of the available curriculums that we enjoyed. I fed that to an AI system, and now it spits out on a daily basis for my wife to homeschool my kids, the lesson plan, the things to draw out, color in, the kind of, tracing mechanics for ABCs, numbers, the whole nine. It's revolved around a school named Alpha in Brownsville. And they kind of focus very heavily on life skills and 2 hours of very focused intelligence work. The rest is life skills and empathy towards humans and like with each other. And so I think that schooling is going to change very rapidly to be as creative as you possibly can and to learn how to be a good human to each other. And that will entail drive what you do in the future because the world will be your oyster because you can build anything your heart can imagine within seconds at that point in your future.
There's also a lot of data parallels about psychological impact of technology, right, on younger individuals as well. So I think it's important that we're aware of okay, what is that people call streamers, right? People that stream online with their video games and stuff. Well, they live in dungeons, they live in dark rooms, they're not getting as much sunlight, they're talking, they have a ton of touch points, etc. So I think we will go full circle and we'll try to find our place with technology, but why not just approach it with that today? Why not keep our emotions controlled? Why not stay focused on people and empathy and implement this responsibly instead of going, ooh, I have something that people don't, right? And that's why we're here to share this freely.
Well, the touch grass component's super important, right? Make sure, with us, we find it equally as important to make sure that our kids, they just got back from summer camp for 2 weeks. We want them out experiencing getting stung by a bee, doing the things that are important to them so that they have that understanding. With my daughter, she's a photographer, and we developed an app where you could go out. She hated it, but I loved it. Where you could take a picture of a background and it would tell you how to pose, what clothes to wear, what camera to use, what lens to use, all the data that you needed to take a perfect photo. And she's like, I don't want it. I want to learn that. I want to understand what you understood. And I'm like, why? Like, I'm 49. Like, it took me 49 years to learn this crap. And I've now given you a tool that takes all of the guesswork. And she's like, because it's not authentic.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of that authenticity.
There
we go. that you need to make sure that you're paying attention to. Alpha School does some incredible stuff, and I love what they do with their curriculum. One of the examples that they use is that they don't teach you what a screwdriver and a set of pliers and a hammer is. What they do is they give you a jet engine, and they say, here's how to fix the jet engine. And you inevitably learn how to use the tool to get the job done. It's a completely different way of thinking it, but when you're done, you've learned how to fix a jet engine. And of course you know what a screwdriver is because you use that to fix the jet engine. So crazy stuff.
Also, we have a question that I want to get to that, but you can also look at Eastern culture because a lot of Eastern culture is very technology advanced, and they're already going through some of this full circle. Like on the food and beverage scene, there's a lot of analog components. What I mean by that is like they'll start to develop happy hours around the people that if you don't use your phone, you get half price drinks, right? Because they're trying to create environments that don't allow. Now, even Eastern culture law doesn't allow certain social medias at certain ages, et cetera. And
so they just passed the 16-year-old and under in the UK. It's outlawed. Yeah.
So they're I think they're a little bit further along than we are in learning the impacts of this technology, right? So I like to try to keep an eye that way just to kind of learn. But we're also at a different time, particularly in the place that we're in. So there's a tremendous amount of opportunity, but then here comes that responsibility piece.
One thing I want to add to that, just because this just came up, is also listen to them. My kid wanted to ride his bike yesterday. His dad, I really want to ride my bike. We're planning our daughter's quinceañera right now. I haven't let you off the hook. The Blizzard machines. You said you can use Blizzard machines for the quinceañera. The padrino de Blizzard. But yesterday when we were sitting down planning a bunch of stuff, Can you tell them what the thing that you asked for was?
Like bins or something simple that like people not being on their phones and be present.
She wants monogram bags for people to put their phones in so that they're present in the moment of the quince. They're not sitting there on their phone texting the whole time. So if you just list, they're going to give you that feedback of where their levels are with what they're comfortable with. But your brother, on the other hand, he's like, I need a 3D printer and I need a new graphics card and I need all the other things. But they're really,
And that's where I'm at, because the guys were looking at robotics, and I was like, okay, so I started teaching them. But then he's like, okay, the bikes and the sports and all that. And then we went out of town, and I said, man, we're so behind on technology. He's like, do I spend more time teaching him the new stuff? Or do we balance it out?
I mean, I love what you said, man. And we watched Disclosure Day yesterday, right?
Oh, yeah, that's where you're
Yeah,
getting a
and
little
it's
bit
like,
from
dude,
that,
and straight up, the lesson, spoiler, right, is one of the things that they talk about in there is advanced cultures practice empathy more than anything else.
I have a 22-year-old. I still remember when she was in high school, I was taking home one of her friends, and I asked, what's your address? And they were like, something.gmail.com. What is your address? And they looked at me.
That's hilarious.
Yes, technology is awesome, and I am all for it, and I use it every single day. But if they don't have basic skills that Generation X has gotten, we used to have when we were growing up, they're completely lost at some point.
Yeah.
They can't find their way around. I still use maps because I can maneuver my way around cities and towns so much faster, because with GPS, I only see just a small piece.
Mhm.
But I still run around much better with maps. There's just everything has its place. But we need to learn both, not just one and go with it, whatever you need. We need to teach both. When you have both and access to both, learn both, and you're a better person for it. We have a lot of kids now that they don't even know how to speak to each other. Because they're always on their phones.
Yeah.
The other thing I've noticed is a lot of our kids, one of our friends call them the crystal kids, they get offended by everything. When we were growing up, at least when I was growing up, usually our family were the first ones that made fun of us, nicknamed us, everything. My daughter was telling me, everything you see is me. And I'm like,
Why do they call you Flaco?
all right. And she said, everything that comes out of your mouth is me. And I'm okay. I said, I just said your hair looked like, a peacock. But I thought that was funny, but all right. And she felt bad about it. And I was like, okay. And she's 22. My husband was like, but it's a different generation. And so we've come to realize we can only say certain things, but it's one of those things we've gained so much and we've lost.
Well, it's also, but it's not even that it's lost. I feel like it's changed, right? So I worked
You're right.
at Facebook, and I never in a million years thought I would work at Facebook, like politics and all the other, I never thought I would work there. And I worked on an incredible program. And if you've never worked there, what I'm going to say, everyone's going to scoff at it, because if you haven't worked there, you don't understand that was the best group of people that I ever worked with. That was the best team. That was the most people-minded group that were driven towards making our civilization and our culture as best as it could be. And no one would agree with that in this room, right? But how many of you have worked on a team at Meta? It was incredible. The people there were incredible. They taught me that the person across the aisle from me may be 180 degrees diametrically opposed to every single political belief that I have, but his input is just as important as mine, because that's what makes a better product. And if you're trying to serve a bigger market, you need to listen to the worst person that you could possibly find and have empathy for them and understanding for them. And you don't have to agree to get something great at it. And that led into working there. When I would have my employee reviews, you know what the first thing that they asked me was? The first question in my first employee review. He said, how are you feeling? And I was like, who cares how I'm feeling? Let me tell you how I've made money for you. Let me tell you how I've done this. Let me tell you how I'm hitting my metrics. I'm doing my KPIs. And they're like, none of that matters. What matters is how are you? And it's different because I feel like I agree pretty much with what you're saying, but this is a whole different generation that we are interpreting it differently than they are. Their idealism and their happiness is important. Their experience is important. What you say to them matters more than it did to us because they're growing up in an environment that focuses on that because of COVID, because they're behind screens, because they don't interact with other kids. The smallest little word can hurt their feelings. Absolutely. I've DJ'd a bunch of her dances, and I've seen the kids stand there and not even know how to have a conversation with each other, but they are having conversations. They're on a chat with each other. They're texting from 10 feet away, and they're talking to each other, and we're looking at that going, oh, they're not talking, they don't want to dance. They're just doing things differently. And what I think powerful technology like this gives us the ability to do is to take that and put that front of house. Yeah. Put that smile of the person who can talk to my daughter and, oh, it's kind of mid, like talk whatever weird slang they're using about, the new frozen treat or whatever it is. They can have that conversation, but their ability to do their job on the back end is now something that's more custom tailored to them. Yeah. It gives them the ability to do it. It gives you the ability to serve customers in the way that they want to be served by meeting them where they are. I think that's one of the important things about AI is it gives us the ability to custom tailor what we're doing to the person that we're dealing with at that time. And that, to me, is the powerful component of it.
Yeah, well said there, Drew. So, again, happy to answer any other questions.
Yeah, I know we've kept you guys so late, so I apologize. But
yep, real quick, we are working with a group that operates 500 restaurants right now, working on their supply chain to help them with these AI solutions. Also on YouTube and Instagram. We just got started, but do follow us if any of this interests you. We're showing you exactly, here you got to hear us, but we're showing you exactly what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like. And yeah, we're happy to engage more in a deeper capacity. So thank you. So this initiative is actually all under RestroTech. So do you have the handles?
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and scan the QR, you'll find all our handles on there, all our socials.
I want to preface that we just started the media initiative where we run restaurants, right? But this will show you exactly what it looks like, what it sounds like, et cetera. That way you don't just hear conceptual talk. I know I took a lot of your time today sharing about my own beliefs, but I think it's important that we establish a framework and a foundation as we get into this type of technology. So that way we can stay on the same wavelength. But
yep.
Cool. Well, I think that's, I don't want to keep anybody from lunch anymore, so I appreciate your time. Thanks for letting me ask you guys questions. It's been fun.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's great.